All right. Sounded like Bruce Buffer there. Let's get ready. Okay. No, that's Michael Buffer, right? His brother. I get him mixed up. All right. So today is crazy weather. In a good way crazy. 70 something degrees. 72 degrees maybe. And a little bit breezy, but it's warm breeze, so I can handle it. Today I'll start off the usual path, but we'll go a little bit off what I usually do, just to keep it interesting. The crazy part though is that I don't have to really worry about changing it up too much, because I'm going to do plenty of that this summer. Trailer park people. Those are my people, man. When I was a little baby learning how to crawl, we were in a trailer house and we had this long hallway. And I got a little bit older and it got kind of scary, because long dark hallways in the middle of the night are freaky. And then when you're at a certain age, you start seeing things and you imagine things. And I did a whole story about that on my other channel called Calendar Girl, because my mom had these Korean calendars and she decided to put one in my bedroom for some reason. Like, why the hell does a little kid need a calendar in his bedroom? It's so weird. And then I woke up one day, and so the story is true. I just made it into like a scary story. I put some scary music and stuff, so. But I kept looking at the lady, the model, the Korean model on the calendar, and I must have been in one of those half asleep states, because she started to like shimmy back and forth, like she's doing the twist or something. And then next thing I know, she's laughing, and I could hear her, and it was just scary, and I had to get out of that bedroom. So I grabbed my pillow and I was trying to actually I don't think I grabbed my pillow, I grabbed my blanket. And I had to walk past her to get out my door. So the whole time, my brain made it really real, unless it was real. And I heard this high-pitched Korean girl giggle as I'm walking down the hallway. Kind of felt like those, was it Hitchcock that did it first? Where the hallway just keeps getting longer and longer. And then they also did that in Nightmare on Elm Street. Really cool effect. I learned how to do it. But it felt like that. I forgot what that effect's called, but you just take a camera and you walk towards something, and as you walk towards it, you change the lens so it goes further away. So it's this simultaneous compensation, and it makes you feel real dreamy. It's really cool. I just wonder, like, the first time they did that, how excited they were. I know the first time I did it, I freaked out, because I had this really kind of ahead of its time high 8 camcorder at one time. And that thing was gold. I'm so glad I bought it. Like, I think I bought it on credit. It took me forever to pay it off, but I knew I had to have a video camera. And this is in my early 20s, and I was teaching all the time. First people I saw today. How bizarre, besides the trailer house people. I was just like, I gotta capture parts of my life. So I've always been doing camera stuff, so this is nothing new for me. But I started experimenting. I did frame by frame action sequences with I had these Star Wars toys. So I made them fight, and I took each frame and then I blended it all together later. It took about 6 hours to make, I think, a 3-minute, maybe even a 2-minute action sequence. It's like, wow, I had a lot of time back then. But once I got all the frames put in to the computer. It must have been Final Cut 1 or something, like way early on. I remember because it was back when Incubus's Make Yourself came out. So whatever year that would have been. Early 2000s maybe. And as soon as I hit play and I saw, the stop motion working, I freaked out. It was such a good feeling. So I've always had this thing for video. And when I was a kid, my grandma she was ahead of her time technologically. She had the first CD player of anybody I ever knew. Excuse me. She had a Betamax recorder. So she was way into Betamax because it was a smaller, cartridge, or what do you call that? So you have the VHS cassette, right? And then you have Betamax, which is smaller, and it looked great. And I think it just lost out because some backroom deal happened or something. I'm going to look into that. I've been really obsessed with learning about things I've always taken for granted in my life. I'll talk about it in a second here. Oh. Hey. I promised yesterday that I would show you some of the bridge views, but I never did, so I'll try to do that today. Anyway, I'm getting used to this cruise control. It's a lot easier than the other one. You had to hold the accelerator for 5 seconds. Totally even, and it's really hard to do when you're on a trail. And then there's another option, but my thumb is kind of messed up, so I couldn't make that happen. So this one's a lot easier. So the things I've been taking for granted that I'm really curious about now, I just started asking Grok kind of to teach me how things work. Because I could easily look them up on Google, but then if I have a direct question, I can't exactly access it right away. So I've been using Grok to teach me. I'll be like, wait, is it Grok I'm using? No, I'm using Claude. Claude for code and for teaching. Grok for just chatting. I think it's because the female voice reminds me of, what's her name? Scarlett Johansson a little bit. I know they did that on purpose from the movie Her. But asking how CDs work, how cassettes work, it's fascinating stuff. Let's go kind of fast here. Hey. I don't like trailing behind people. Kind of makes them nervous too, I think. Love that white tree. Oh, here comes a little scooter. Hey. See, people just look. I know that was a kid, but most people do that. They just look at you weird. Hey. I would look at me weird too, I guess. And I started down the rabbit hole with CDs because I'll tell this story on my video, my other channel. I don't know if anyone's going to care, but I think when I'm fascinated with something and it really comes through in the video, I think other people, even if they already know most of the information, kind of will still watch it. Whether they want to just catch me screwing up, which is very common. That's why every time you make a YouTube video, you got to be ready for that. It's educational though. And also just to maybe stay tuned to see if they don't know something that I've found out recently, you know? What's up? Hey. I thought I was gonna die back there. That kid was coming at me fast. Hey. Yeah, I was at school. This was, I think, in junior high or senior high. And they brought in these guys from Sony or something. No, it probably wasn't Sony. Some like big company like that. And they were going to talk to us about technology and CDs and stuff, because CDs were pretty new at the time. Hold on, I'll show you the view really quick. Here it's kind of cool because there's don't know if you could see over the top of the thing. Let's see. No, you can't really see. And I can't really lift up my scooter, sorry. So there it is. It's still very picturesque, if you will. Very Little House on the Prairie. I mean, we are in Minnesota. But I remember having this burning question in my head that I've always had, and I'm like, I could finally ask somebody. I almost said asks. And I'm like, okay, so there's a laser beam that goes on the CD and it, makes the music. And I asked the guy directly, I'm like, because he explained the binary system a little bit, I'm like, how do numbers turn into like the sound of a trumpet? And he looked a little baffled. I said, can you explain exactly how a bunch of numbers, a bunch of zeros and ones, can turn into the sound of like a voice or a trumpet? And the guy totally did what, most of us would do when they're on the spot and you don't know something. He just sort of talked around it, throwing out big words and stuff. And if I would have been an asshole, I would have really pushed him. I'd have been like, wait, what was that? That last part, that didn't, But I just went along with it. I could tell he was a little uncomfortable. And now that I'm looking into it, it's crazy. I realized there's not even zeros and ones on the disc. I always thought that was the case. Hey. All right, here's where the sun always feels good, unless it's behind a cloud. Oh yeah, feel it. I feel the sun shining down on me. There's a guy that lives here that always waves at me. Must think I have no life, and he's right. All right, I think school is over, so I think we're able to go near the playground. I don't want to freak anybody out here. This is my very first school ever, and the first time I went here, I missed the bus home and I cried. Then my grandma had to come and pick me up. How terrifying was that as a kid to have to go to the office and tell some strange, tall lady that I missed my bus? She had to look up all the numbers, find my emergency contact, I guess, because my dad and mom were at work or whatever. And here comes my grandma in her Trans Am. Once again, my grandma was badass my whole life. She's still around, actually. But she always came to the rescue. Should we go through here? This could be kind of interesting. Let's do it. Through the playground. This is with my new tires. I haven't done this yet. It feels great. It's probably a little jarring for the camera. Sorry about that. We used to play baseball right here. A bunch of kids just sucking at hitting the ball. Throw it underhand. We play softball. Okay, here's my mission every time I come here, to be able to weave around this fence without having to stop or fall. Oh, barely. Okay. Anyhow, I kind of lost my train of thought there. Every time I rewatch, if I rewatch, I'll be like, God, how did I not finish that thought? But I just get these memories thrown at me. Oh, just missing the bus and stuff. School is terrifying. I'm on the fence about it though, because I feel like in life, you're put through certain things, and at the time, they're just horrifying. Like being half Asian in an all-white school at the time, and just having allergies, so I couldn't talk right. Like the teacher would be like, "What's your name?" And I'd be like, I'd say my last name, which contains a lot of N's, and it basically you couldn't hear me. She'd be like, "What? Speak up. What?" Just going to the lunchroom and having all the kids teasing you because you're Chinese or whatever. That's what they would call me. Still recall all the chants, you know, Chinese, Japanese, dirty knees. Look at these. So yeah, school was basically prison-like for me, if what I could imagine prison being like as a kid. And I would go to school with a stomachache every day because I was allergic to milk. I never knew that. So first thing in the morning, first thing in the morning, a big ass bowl of cereal with 2% milk every day. Even if we had oatmeal, threw some milk in it. So I'd go to school with a stomachache, and then I'd be too afraid to run to the bathroom because school was starting. And I would just sit there in pain until I could finally go to the bathroom, you know. I think that's a big reason why I sleep till 2 o'clock now. That's my way of rebelling. Even at my age, I'm like, I'm not waking up for something I hate. But now I have to just realize I'm not going to some scary classroom with a stomachache full of kids making fun of you, you know? But things got better over time. I learned how to traverse everything. I got into martial arts and, you know, got in a few fights actually. Not bad ones, but oh my God, there's a huge crane. Look, it's about to take off, I think. I don't know if you could see it. I love when those things take off because they just make such a scene, you know. We have some white ones around here too, white cranes. Uh-oh, this dog's on the loose. People that don't use a leash freak me out, man. Oh, she's cool, I think. Hey. Oh, it's a cool dog. But that dog seems very well behaved. Maybe it's because I was really traumatized as a kid, I think. Because when I was a kid, every dog wanted to run after me. But no leash, that's kind of dangerous, you know, unless you really know your dog. But even then, dogs have those instincts when they see certain things. They just can't help it. Even the sweetest dog can turn into a murdering, you know, a bird murderer, if you will. That's hard to say, bird murder. And it was weird when I got older because people were, wow, those trees look cool. People kept saying, you know, the prison rules. Oh, if you ever go to prison, make sure you kick someone's ass right away. You get in with the right group. You keep your head down at first. And then I was like, wait, that's all the shit I did at school. What the feehawk? What did they put us through? And the reason I'm on the fence is because even though I went through all that fear and stress and all that, I got past it a changed person. For the better, I don't know. Maybe I would have been way more badass or way less badass, I don't know. Because you develop a certain badassery getting through something, but you also get screwed up in the head. So I probably still would have gotten into martial arts because I loved Bruce Lee and all that stuff, but maybe I would have pursued that full time. It's hard to say what you would have done if you didn't spend, 8 hours every day in a classroom. But you can't change it, so I'll just embrace it and think for the better, One thing that's kind of freaking me out is I'm getting a little too used to talking to myself. Sorry, I can't use my signal. Okay, this is where the crazy dogs live, so I gotta be careful. Love that house back there. It's funny because I'm always like looking out for that dog and it's always just sleeping, just dead to the world. The neighbors, though, have like these wolf dogs that are pretty intense. They're actually on these leashes that are ropes that are attached to something, and one time I didn't see the rope, so I thought it was running at me full clip. And that's before I had this scooter, so I couldn't go very fast. You know, I think I topped out at 20 miles an hour on the other scooter. This one goes 28, although I've never gotten it up to 28 yet. It got to 27. But the more you learn about the educational system and how it all came about, you really go, wow, okay. Explains a lot. But that being said, there are a lot of teachers with good intentions within the system. And you could always kind of tell who the good ones are. Because somebody will make a statement like, oh, everything's bullshit, everything's corrupt, and it's like a prison and all that. And then these teachers who really just want to help the kids, they're just following the rules, you know, and they're doing it with good intentions for the most part, from what I can see. And maybe they had great experiences in school. You know, some people loved going to class and learning, and I could see how that could be, but not for everybody. So I feel kind of bad when people clash with the good teachers, but I'm hearing more and more from people that are just giving up because they try to teach and they have to follow the bureaucracy of it all, and ooh, this might be tricky. Woo! That's something you don't see a lot. A truck like that with a Domino's pizza delivery thing at the top. Usually it's like a small car with a rusty door, you know. I'm stereotyping. I'm just saying that's what I notice. Oh, these are huge dogs. I'm like, I'm going to take a different route today. Takes the exact route. But since it's so nice out, I will go the extra distance today. Then I'm heading to my mom's for dinner. Yeah, so these teachers, it's kind of heartbreaking listening to their stories on YouTube. They'll be like, yeah, I went in and I just wanted to help the next generation, wanted to teach. Next thing I know, I'm a babysitter, more or less. All the kids are crazy. Nobody has my back. They're not paying us anything. And I have a friend who's a teacher for many years, and he just keeps quiet, but he's like, man, if I really spoke my mind, so I'm waiting for him to retire so I could hear all the stories. Some people are really good at camouflaging in a world they don't like to be in just to get through it, you know? I get it. People sometimes act weird with me. They're like, what would you know, dude? You just make videos for your living, play on stage. Like, dude, I have plenty of jobs before I, pursued teaching. And YouTube was a shock. That came out of nowhere, you know? YouTube showed up decades and decades after teaching privately. But my first job, Al and I just went to Northtown in my other video, and I had my first 3 jobs were in that mall. So the first one, I won't go through everything, sorry. I just can't stop jabbering. But Music Avenue, right there, Montgomery Warts, $4.25 an hour. Got a raise to 5. I thought I was rich. I'm making $5 an hour, dude. I could finally buy a coat hanger to strap my muffler to my truck so it doesn't scrape on the ground. I realize I do that a lot. People like to do that where they act like they were impoverished as a kid or something, but okay, I get to try my bell. Gotcha. See, it works. Sorry. Thanks. And then after that, my friend, this is going to be another video, who didn't want to hire me because I was a long-haired hippie loser. Those were his words at the time. We became friends, and now we're in a band together. It's crazy. But he was my boss. He went somewhere else, and they brought in this new boss who I thought was really cute. She was like 24, and she looked a little bit like, what's her name from Vision Quest. She's also in Jade. I can't think of her name right now, but holy smoke show. So I stayed there for a little while, but just didn't feel the same. You know, it's a lot like my jiu-jitsu school. As soon as your friends leave, it's a different place. You just gotta realize how much certain humans affect the atmosphere of a place. So I was looking around. Right across the mall, right from our door, we could see Sam Goody, which used to be Musicland. And that's where I used to go to buy records as a kid, flip through Kiss records and choose the one with the coolest cover. What the hell is going on here? Someone laying down? Oh. Let's see if I could get these kids. I'll be the nice guy. Looks like they're fixing their dirt bikes or whatever. Hey. So I'd go over there, and it's funny because there was a girl that worked at Montgomery Ward's who my boss was really good friends with. She was really cool. And I was going through kind of a tough breakup sort of thing, and she became like friends with me, and we would talk, and it was a really unlikely friendship because she was kind of like a popular preppy blonde type girl, and I was this long-haired freak who was into typo negative, you know. And she was very, very cool. It's funny how just one person in your life at a certain time could make bad times seem bearable, you know. So then I went over there and I applied for a job, and the boss's name was Tim. I'll never forget Tim, because he was so, I hate to use the word anal, but he was so anal about his job, like, which means he was so good at it. He did everything by the book. He had super long blonde hair that he put in a ponytail, and he looked like an art rocker or like a prog guy, you know, like, like by day he worked at Sam Goody, by night he played in Cynic, you know. And he would just walk around with a clipboard, do all the things that they told him to do each day. I think you would get like a fax from corporate or something. I don't know how it worked. And I quickly went from just a regular employee there who shucked CDs, as they called it. That's where you put it in the plastic thing so it doesn't get stolen. And by the way, we had the shucking keys, these 3-pronged tools that you could open each case with. And those were like gold. You could not lose those, because obviously if somebody got a hold of it, it's free CDs for them. I should have kept one just as a souvenir. Anyway, I went from that to Third Key, I think they called it. That's where I was able to open the store. Basically, it's just a way to get one of us schlums to wake up early and open the store at the mall, because you'd get fined if you opened late, and then they could come in later. But I liked the responsibility at the time because I was getting a little bit more money and a title. I could tell all my friends, I'm a Third Key, like it mattered. But working at Sam Goody and Music Avenue, I got discounts on music, and the best part was they would send us promos all the time. So I could just take one home if nobody wanted it at the end. There's a box full of promos. That's how I got Dream Theater's Lie. Is this guy waiting for me? Seriously? Thanks, I guess. God, I feel bad when I'm kind of get mad at myself for getting mad at people for being polite like that, but it's like if somebody holds the door for you and you're like 20 feet away, you're like, dude, just go. You don't have to hold the door for me. It's a very human problem, I guess. And then eventually I got to assistant manager, and I recall I'm like looking at Tim. He was a cool guy though. He went to see Korn at some company-wide concert because Korn was being pushed for some reason on everybody. I love Korn, by the way. Got to meet him and roadie for him once. But I was way into Korn because of Tim, and I was showing my friends, look at this album. They're like, who is it? I'm like, Korn. They're like, what the hell is Korn? They thought it was C-O-R-N. I thought it was a weird name at first too, but when you put a K on it, actually looks kind of cool. Still don't want to really know the real reason for the name because I have my suspicions, but anyway. Just got to the point where it was like, I don't want to be the guy with a clipboard. Checking the boxes, doing everything the district manager told you to do for the day. Okay guys, we have to put up an end cap of Snow White because it's being re-released for some reason on VHS or DVD or whatever. I think it was VHS at the time. Be sure you have enough three tenor CDs. It got pretty wild, the detail that went into everything. But that's why it was a corporate place, you know? And then down the mall was 2020 Sound. And that's where my friend Chris ended up working. And that's where my friend Jay was the boss. He was there like every day, pretty much. And you'd go there for the cool, you know, bands that you're supposed to get into. Jay would tell you, hey, check these guys out. And he had a band too, so it was funny. He had a box full of his band CDs on the desk at all times. I bet you he sold a whole bunch of them. I would guess he sold 300 CDs of his own band. Because he'd be like, hey, if you like this, try this. Even if it wasn't related. It's like, oh, you like Candlebox? You're gonna like our band. Sound nothing like Candlebox, you know. But it's only $5. Oh, dude, I can't pass that up. Okay, let's do it. Sort of genius, if you think about it. And by the way, remind me to yell at Chris for not doing that for our band. Of course, back then we only had a couple demos on cassette out. When we did put out an actual CD, it was a disaster, so I guess I can't be mad at Chris for that. Guys living the dream back there. Then there was Best Buy, and that was basically hell. So if you went up the chain of command, it was, I would say 2020 Sound was the rebel. Music Avenue was the underdog. Sam Goody was the corporate stepping stone, and Best Buy was corporate hell. It's like, I will never put on that blue shirt. And the craziest part about Sam Goody, holy shit, it just got crazy windy. People would come in towards the end of when I worked there, and they would look at the prices, and they'd be like, oh, the new Spice One, $18.99 for a CD. You think I'm kidding? You think I'm joking? Hey. $18.99 with tax. It came to like $20 for a CD. It's like everything today. They just keep ticking the prices up, ticking up, till people stop buying. Then they keep them or lower them a little bit. Then people get used to that. Then they tick back up. They just will never stop. And I just remember when people started going, dude, this is $10.99 at Best Buy. See you later. I'm like, oh, capitalism, this is how it all works, okay. Because we never had that problem at Music Avenue. I think it's because Best Buy hadn't quite established itself in the mall the way it did when I went to Sam Goody for some reason, so. That was a good lesson. And of course, you had your shysters that would come in, and if I was all by myself, this happened at Music Avenue. If I was by myself, there was always some guy who was gonna trick you. This dude came in with 6 CDs or something, and he's like, okay, what I wanna do, because I bought these last week, is return all 6 of them. I go, okay, because they were still in their wrapping and all that. If someone was really smart, they would have just burned the CD. I don't think you could burn CDs back then. Or take the CDs out and then just buy a shrink wrap machine, you know? Or find a way to just make it look like it never got opened. Use a razor blade or something. These tricksters, though, they'd come in, and this one guy in particular really got me pissed off because I felt stupid, but I caught him, at least. Even though I suck at math. I knew he was up to something. And he returned all 6 of them, and he's like, wait a minute, no, I guess I changed my mind on one of them, I'll take that back. And I forgot exactly what happened, I'll have to think about it, but then he grabbed a new one, and he put it down. He's like, I'll exchange it for that one, actually. And I worked it out in my head, I'm like, wait a minute, he came in with this many CDs, he didn't do any extra transaction, and he's gonna leave with a new CD and all this money back? So I just said, dude, you gotta wait till my manager gets here. I didn't want to tell him I'm too stupid to figure this out right now. But he got really agitated, like, dude, it's so easy, can't you figure this out? I give you 6 CDs, you give me 6, and I'm just like, nah, this feels wrong, I could just tell. So, I'm older now, I still would have kicked the guy out, but I think I was really, really about the rules back then, even though I was a headbanger. And I still am. I don't want people stealing and stuff, but it's like, I don't know. I don't freak out as much, I guess, at the thought of it. Because oh God, I don't know why I'm telling you guys all this stuff, but one time they called me to work at a different mall, and it was a very affluent mall. And I just remember all the kids that worked there had all the popular kid clothes. It's like they were all loaded. Their parents were, at least. So we're working. I'm surprised they even had a job. It's probably just for something to put on their college resume or something. And these kids were just different. Like they acted cool to me because I was the boss. Don't ask me how I was the boss at the time, but they were like, yeah. I remember because the album Sausage just came out, and I was digging it. And these rich kids would be like, oh, Sausage, cool, dude. Then right before they left, this one rich kid comes up to me, and he pulls his pant leg up, and he goes, look, dude. And somehow he had 2 CDs in his socks. And he had baggy pants or whatever, so it was like, oh, okay. It's like, we do this all the time. We just, load up, and then we walk out of the door, and we go home, we have free CDs. And I thought, God, this kid's stupid. Like, why would you tell the acting manager of your store that you steal CDs before you leave, you know? And then I realized it's because I had long hair, and he thought I was part of their club or whatever. And I just thought, okay, well, I have to do this, I guess. And I had to call the cops, and I had to do all that stupid stuff. And, it was shameful. But I get a little fuzzy on the memory if the cops showed up, like the mall cop or something, and detained the kid or whatever, but it was something I didn't want to do. But at the same time, I was like, screw this kid. He's rich. Like, it seems like it's the rich kids that want to do that stuff a lot, just to feel the thrill of it. You know, was it Winona Ryder, or who was it that, like some rich actress that got busted stealing? It's like, well, I just have this compulsion. I just want to feel dangerous, you know? It's easy to go in and flop down a credit card. It's another thing to stuff it down your shorts and walk out. So I thought that was pretty wild. Okay, I'll do one quick little trek down here. Check out Lilliput. See if people are playing mini golf. Then I'll call it a day as far as scooting goes. I think I'll have to call this, I always have to come up with a name. This is getting kind of tough lately, but busting rich kids stealing CDs or something. I don't know. As a YouTuber now on my guitar channel, my brain's always looking for that catchy title. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. There's an art to it that I haven't mastered quite yet. Okay, I took the long way to get to Lilliput, but let's check it out. Might even be closed right now, I don't know. But Lilliput was a big deal as a kid. It was basically our Wisconsin Dells, our little Disneyland. And they have bumper cars, bumper boats, not bumper cars, what is it? Bumper boats, go-karts, mini golf, a couple arcade, oh, I forgot about that. That was so fun. Everybody wanted to go on the stupid bumper boats. I hated those things. It's like, yay, we just bump into each other, yippee. So I would go inside and play the video games. Hold on, I'll turn around so you can see. Hey. When do you guys open for this? Like, can anybody just come up and ride a go-kart?
Yeah, you gotta buy tickets in the main building right there.
Okay, what are the hours every day? Like, when does it start?
What are the hours for a go-kart?
For right now, it's like 3 to 7:20ish.
Okay, so 3 is start time? I might come back sometime and try it out. I used to come here as a kid, so. All right, cool. And you guys stay up until 7? All right, I'll probably come back sometime. Thank you. Okay. I'm already awkward, and those people made me even more awkward. Felt like I was a detective, and they were like hiding something. It's like, yeah, what time does this all start? Who wants to know? Why do you want to know? I saw some like Lilliput mural or something. I gotta check this out. You gotta love the name, Lilliput. Whoa, check that out. That is badass, I have to say. We don't have enough of that kind of stuff in our neighborhoods anymore, like the good graffiti. It's one thing if it's art like that, I love it. Oh, this is new. These are like, maybe for kids, kid go-karts. And then a jump pad. That's pretty cool too. Although, looks a little dangerous. Even though there's sand on the sides, the border is solid wood. It's not gonna stop anything. But I love it. There's an ice cream shop right there. Little ice cream corner. You could buy a snack bar, whatever you call them. Get an ice cream cone. Damn. All right, I'll have to make it a point to come back and do up a little Lilliput this summer. So maybe I'll wear the camera on my vest, on my chest, and bore you guys with some bumper boats. I'll reenact that scene in Breaking Bad where Jesse's all by himself riding go-karts, looking depressed. That was a sad scene, man. 'Cause here's Jesse, he's got all the money in the world, yet he's all by himself on a go-kart. Looking depressed as hell. All right. Was that Peter Sellers back there? All right, everybody. That was fun. We'll catch you later. I'm glad you got to see Lilliput with me. There's a jacket. Oh, two jackets just randomly laying there. That's kind of creepy. And we will catch you later. Bye.